He had everything: money, fame, power, a shining red Ferrari, a house like a palace, a life everyone wanted. But one day, right in the middle of a courtroom, he fell. His body gave up, and something inside him broke too. And then he disappeared. No one knew where he went. Months passed. When he came back, he was a different man. No suit, no Ferrari, just peace in his eyes. He smiled like he had found something rare, something the world had forgotten. What did he learn, far away in the mountains of India? Why did he give up everything people spend their lives chasing? This isn't just his story, it's a lesson for anyone who feels lost in the noise of this world. After leaving behind everything, Julian walked deep into the Himalayas, far from noise, far from fame. He was tired, not just in his body, but in his heart. He searched for answers, not in books or in courtrooms, but in silence, in nature, and in old faces that smiled without needing a reason. One day, he found them, a hidden group of monks living in peace, surrounded by green forests, fresh air, and ancient wisdom. These were the sages of Sivana. They welcomed him like a brother, though he was a stranger, and slowly they began to teach him what no university ever could. The first lesson was simple, but powerful. Master your mind, because the mind is like a garden. If you plant good seeds, positive thoughts, goals, and love, beautiful flowers will grow. But if you let weeds grow, fear, anger, worry, soon your garden will be overrun. Julian had spent years feeding his mind with stress and chasing things that never gave him peace. He thought money and success would make him happy, but his mind was filled with pressure, fear of losing, and a voice that never let him rest. The monks taught him that we become what we think. If you fill your mind with strong, clear, positive thoughts, you shape your life into something meaningful. But if you let your mind control you, it will pull you in every direction, like a wild horse with no rider. They gave him a powerful exercise. Every morning, find a quiet place. Close your eyes. Picture a shining light inside your mind, a peaceful garden. In that garden, imagine your biggest goal. See it clearly, feel it, water it with belief. Do this every day, and your mind will start to change. Thoughts are not just words, they are seeds, and whatever you plant grows. Julian began doing this daily. Slowly, the fear faded. The stress melted. He felt something he hadn't felt in years: stillness. He learned, if you want to change your life, don't start outside. Start with the thoughts inside your head. Because once you master your mind, the rest will follow. Julian smiled to himself one morning, sitting under a tree, listening to birds. He whispered, "I used to think the world was my enemy, but it was only my own thoughts all along." Days turned into weeks. Julian woke up every morning before the sun. He no longer rushed. He listened. The monks shared their second lesson with him, one that changed how he looked at life forever. They said, "A life without purpose is like a ship without a compass." Before, Julian had chased success without asking why. Big house, expensive car, fancy title, but no direction. He was busy, but not fulfilled. The monks taught him, you must know why you wake up every morning. You must have a goal so clear it burns in your heart. They told him a simple truth. When you don't know your purpose, you follow the world. But when you do know your purpose, the world follows you. They gave Julian a ritual. Every morning, after calming the mind, ask, what do I truly want from life? Not what others expect, not what looks good on paper, but what makes your soul come alive. For Julian, it wasn't winning cases anymore. It was sharing the wisdom he had learned, helping others find peace. The monks told him, write your goal, make it real, read it daily, feel it deeply, and take small steps every day with courage. They said, a meaningful life isn't built in one day. It's built one step at a time. And most importantly, don't wait to feel ready. Start before you're ready, because the perfect moment never comes, and fear never fully leaves. Julian finally understood. His old life was full of noise, but this new path was full of meaning. His goal wasn't about status anymore, it was about impact. And when you live with purpose, even a simple life feels powerful. One evening, watching the sunset, he whispered to himself, I was running for years, but now I know where I'm going. Julian had begun to feel lighter. His thoughts were calmer. His purpose was becoming clearer each day. But one morning, as he sat quietly beside a stream, the oldest monk approached him and smiled. He said, peace is good, but peace without growth becomes comfort. And comfort, my friend, is a silent trap. That was the beginning of the next lesson, Kaizen. the ancient practice of constant self-improvement. The monks believed that every day is a chance to grow, just a little, not with pressure, but with purpose. Not trying to become perfect, but becoming better. They told Julian, great lives are built, not found. And they're built one brick at a time. They gave him a simple but powerful idea. If you're not growing, you're slowly dying. Julian began to push himself, not with stress, but with love. He started waking up a little earlier, reading a little more, meditating a little longer. He faced his fears one by one. The monks made him walk barefoot in the cold river, not to torture him, but to build discipline. Because growth comes when we do what's uncomfortable. They told him, discipline is like a muscle. The more you use it, the stronger it becomes. Julian learned that growth wasn't always loud or dramatic. Sometimes it was quiet, like choosing to reflect instead of react, like choosing water over wine, like sitting with your pain instead of running from it. He wrote this line in his notebook, "Every day I will be better than yesterday, even if just by one small step." That was Kaizen. Not just improving your work, but your habits, your thoughts, your patience, your kindness. It wasn't about becoming someone else. It was about becoming the best version of yourself. And every time Julian grew, even a little, he felt his spirit rise. Not from pride, but from knowing he was no longer stuck. He said to himself one night under the stars, "The old me waited for life to change. The new me knows, I must change for life to grow." As the days passed, Julian felt stronger, not just in his body, but in his heart. But with growth came challenge. One early morning, while he was meditating under a tree, a monk placed a bowl of rice in front of him, then gently whispered, "You may eat it, after you sit here without moving for 1 hour." Julian smiled. He thought it would be easy, but 10 minutes in, his legs started to ache. His mind wanted to quit. His stomach growled. Every part of him screamed, "Give up!" But a small voice inside whispered, "Hold on." That hour felt like a battle, not with the outside world, but with himself. When the monk returned, he said just one thing. That was not a test of your body. It was a lesson in self-control. That day, Julian learned the fourth virtue, live with discipline. The monks explained, discipline is the bridge between dreams and results. Everyone wants a better life, but few are willing to do what it takes, consistently. Not once in a while, but every day. Willpower, they said, is not something you're born with. It's something you build. Like lifting a weight, every time you say no to distraction, that mental muscle grows stronger. Julian realized this was the secret behind great minds, great artists, great leaders. The ability to keep going, even when it's hard. The monks gave him a simple rule. Do one thing each day that makes you uncomfortable. Wake up early, take a cold bath, say no to junk food, say yes to silence. These small acts may look simple, but over time, they shape who you become. Julian began to love the challenge, because he saw that every time he overcame weakness, something powerful awakened in him. He wrote in his journal, "True freedom is not doing whatever you want, it's doing what your best self would choose." That's what discipline gave him. Not control over others, but control over himself. And in that, he found a strange, quiet kind of strength. The kind that doesn't shout, but never breaks. Julian was changing. He thought differently. He moved slower, but with more purpose. And most of all, he had learned to listen. One morning, as the sun painted gold across the sky, a young monk asked him, "Julian, what do you value most?" Julian smiled and said, "Peace, maybe wisdom." But the monk shook his head gently and said, "The most valuable thing you have is your time." That hit him hard. In his old life, Julian wore a Rolex, but never had time for his family. He was always rushing, always busy, but not always living. The monks taught him a truth that most people ignore. You can earn back money, but never lost time. They said, every minute you spend is a piece of your life you never get back. Spend it wisely, like gold. They helped Julian see that time isn't just about clocks and calendars. It's about energy, attention, what you choose to give your soul to. So he began to live with intention. He started planning each day, not just his tasks, but his moments. He made time for silence, for gratitude, for small walks in nature, for meaningful conversations. The monks gave him a simple rule. Don't let the urgent steal from the important. It's easy to be busy all day and still feel empty at night, but it's rare to be present, to give your time only to what truly matters. Julian began to say no more often, not because he was selfish, but because he had learned the value of his hours. He wrote in his journal, "I used to kill time. Now I guard it like treasure. Because one day, we all run out of it, and when that day comes, what will you wish you had done?" The monk smiled at him and said, "The way you spend your time is the way you spend your life." Julian had gained so much: a calm mind, a clear purpose, discipline and direction, but something still felt incomplete. One evening, as the sky turned orange and birds flew home, he asked a question. "I feel peace, but is that enough?" The elder monk placed a hand on his shoulder and smiled gently. "Peace inside you is beautiful, but true peace comes when you share it." That was the next lesson. Selflessly serve others. The monks lived simply, yet they were rich in kindness, in love, in joy. Every day they helped someone, not for reward, not for recognition, but because giving was their way of living. They taught Julian that life becomes truly meaningful not when you take more, but when you give more. A bowl of food to the hungry, a kind word to the lonely, a smile to a stranger. Small things, but they ripple across the world like light in the dark. Julian remembered how, in his old life, he would walk past people without seeing them. He was too busy, too important, too distracted. But now he saw them. He felt them. One day, while walking with a young monk, they saw a tired man carrying wood. The boy ran ahead and helped without a word. Later, Julian asked, "Why did you help him?" The monk replied, "Because he needed it, and I could." That one sentence stayed in Julian's heart forever. Because he needed it, and I could. The monks told him, "Kindness isn't a weakness, it's your real power. Helping others doesn't take away from you, it multiplies your meaning." Julian began offering guidance to villagers. He listened, he served. And with every small act of compassion, he felt a deep, quiet joy. He wrote in his journal, "I used to live for myself. Now I live for something greater." Because the purpose of life, he realized, wasn't just to grow. It was to lift others as you rise. And in giving, he finally felt whole. The wind was quiet, the leaves barely moved. Julian sat alone, watching the sunrise slowly rise over the mountains. The sky changed colors, soft pink, gentle gold, like a painting made only for this moment. He didn't think about the past anymore. He didn't worry about what would come next. He just breathed. And for the first time in his life, he truly felt alive. The final lesson the monks gave him was simple, yet the hardest to live by. Embrace the present. Most people, they said, are always running, chasing the future, regretting the past. But life only happens now. This breath, this step, this smile. The monks taught Julian that the mind loves to wander. It drags you into memories and pushes you into worries. But peace lives only in the now. They gave him a small ritual. Every day, stop. Just stop. Look around. Feel the air. Listen to the birds. Smile at a stranger. Taste your food. These are not small things. These are life. Julian remembered how in his old life days flew by, months disappeared, and he never noticed. But now, every moment was full. Every second had weight. He didn't need to go somewhere to be happy. He needed to be where he was. He wrote in his journal, "Yesterday is a shadow, tomorrow is a dream, but today is a gift." And that's what he carried with him when he left the mountains. Not gold, not a new title, but the gift of presence. Because when you live in the now, you finally start to live. And so, that was the extraordinary journey of Julian Mantle. A man who had everything, but still felt empty. A man who walked away from fortune, fame, and chaos, and returned with peace, purpose, and a fire that would never fade. From building powerful habits, protecting your mind, living with discipline, to serving others and embracing the now, this wasn't just a story. It was a mirror to our own lives, because deep down many of us are chasing what Julian once chased. But maybe what we truly need is to slow down, to breathe, to reflect, and like Julian, reconnect with the part of us we've forgotten, the soul. My opinion? The Monk Who Sold His Ferrari isn't just a book. It's a gentle awakening, a reminder that success isn't about how much we earn. It's about how deeply we live. We often forget to care for the garden of our mind, to value our time, to savor the now. But this story taught me, and hopefully taught you, that true power lies within. You don't need to go to the Himalayas to change your life. You just need to take that first step. Start your mornings with clarity. Feed your mind with wisdom. Live your life with intention. If this story touched your heart, if even one lesson made you pause and think, then don't let it fade away. Subscribe to our channel, Book Summary Vault for more soul-stirring stories, book wisdom, and life-changing insights. We've got powerful videos waiting for you, from Atomic Habits to the 5 a.m. Club to the Psychology of Money. Every video is crafted to help you grow, dream, and transform. Hit that like button to show your support. Drop a comment, tell us, what's the one lesson from Julian's story that you'll carry with you today? And most importantly, share this with someone who's lost in the chaos, someone who needs a little spark, a little stillness, a little hope, because sometimes one story can change a life. Until next time, stay inspired, stay present, and keep growing. This is Book Summary Vault, where stories become strength.